right, is everybody ready? All right, now here we go. A one, a two, a one,
Let's get it on. We're back, everyone. We made it. We made it through week 5, and we are back with the Get Sunday Cover podcast. My name is Cody. I'm your commissioner, joined as always by my good friend Brandon, aka Tiggle Gritties. We got here, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, what a freaking wild week, brother.
What a good. So I feel like so much happened. Like it's been 7 days since we recorded last, and then like, holy crap, dude! Like so much happened this week. I don't know, man. How'd you do this weekend? How are things? What's new in your world? Because I've got so much going on.
Well, I went 4-2 on the weekend. Not too bad. One in a couple of my, I won in, I'd say 2 of the 3 money leagues I'm in. One of them I'm kind of at in the best ball league that you, me, and Jordan are in. I don't know, man. I've made offers out there and I'm just not getting any hits, and I think I'm just kind of, my team in that league is just, if I get into the playoffs, I'm going to be scraping teeth. But I'm maybe down, but I'm not out. But in everything else, man, I'm looking solid. I went top scorer in 3 of my leagues this week, and I blew out quite a bit of people. So I think
Nice.
in the closest one in any of my leagues where I was the top scorer, I was up by 20 points. So
Damn.
yeah,
Damn. Putting a beat down.
I put a beat down this week. That's for sure.
So I assume that probably means you have very similar teams across your leagues. You drafted the same.
No, what's crazy is they're not. I mean, they're very
That's awesome, dude.
different. Especially when it comes to like running backs and receivers. And like in 2 of my leagues that I was up there, I have Kelsey, but in the other one I have Hawkinson. And I mean, I'm just kind of all over the place in those leagues, but I mean, I'm gonna say it wasn't a bad week. Um, I mean, let me ask you, how did your week go, brother?
I had a pretty good week. I think I went 2 and 3. Bit of a heartbreaker in there in our league. We're going to get to that. Well, I know you were watching. Everybody saw that one, but not too bad. I mean, it was a pretty solid week for me. I had one team that blew up and really just kind of crushed everybody else. But for the most part, everything went pretty well. I'm happy that hockey's back. I see that you're rocking the jersey as well. Let's go. So,
I
hey, man,
I
not too much
I
to
kind of
complain
was
about.
forced to wear the Avs. I can't necessarily wear my other squad, which is Boston, because I don't want to. I mean, I guess today it would have been okay because, as you can see, we don't have our background here
Yeah.
today on the podcast. We're gonna be rolling out some new stuff come next week, so we wanted to
Yes,
keep it
sir.
light this week, and you know, just
Keep it a little
make
more
it a little bit
casual.
make it a little bit more personable, being able to kind of enter the room with us this week per se.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a ton of cool things coming up, guys. So please definitely stay tuned. Cool announcements, cool changes to the pod. Brandon's been putting in a lot of work as far as like the digital creativity and things like that. So really excited to check that out. today's show, we're going to go through the regular stuff like we always do. We've got the weekly recap. We got some trade talk to talk about. Actually, a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to trades. Of course, we're going to do standings and then matchups of the week, and as always, Brandon's bets. But before we jump into that, I'll hit you guys with another quick question for the week. So, Brandon, I'm going to let you take this one. I did not pull everybody else. I just want to get your thoughts on this. We're going to do a quick keep trade cut. Are you down for that?
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
What you got for me this week?
All right, keep trade cut. Let's go Thursday night football, London games, or Monday night football.
Oof. All right. Keep. I would say the keep is the London games. I like those early Sunday games. It gives me football all day long. I have no issue with that.
Yep.
And making it kind of global, I think the NFL is making a great approach with that. And I know there's talks about possibly an overseas team. Be quite interesting to see what happens there. But keep that. My trade, I would say, is Thursday night football. Let's get Friday night lights, baby. I would much rather prefer Friday over a Thursday. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like that would be sweet. And then let's or actually, I don't know, man. I'm gonna cut Thursday night football. Keep Monday night. Actually, I'm gonna cut Thursday
But
night,
if
and
you
I would
keep Monday night, you still want it to go to Fridays.
yeah.
Okay, so cutting
Yeah,
Thursday out.
yeah,
We go
I would
Friday
cut
night
Thursday
lights,
out,
college
and
ball on Saturday,
yeah,
and then a full day of Sunday. No Monday night football.
no Mondays, and give me a shit ton of football on Sundays.
Interesting. Okay.
What would you do?
Okay. I thought I had it figured out until you gave me your answer, and now I'm kind of like, it's not a bad point, actually. For me, I'm kind of with you, man. I don't mind the early games. It doesn't bother me. I'm usually up by that time anyway. Plus, on those days, we get the London games. My wife gets to stay in bed. I can come out in the living room, watch TV, not have to worry about bothering her. Or, actually, she doesn't care. She watches football with me all the time. But I think I will keep London games also. I think I'm cutting Thursday and trade Monday to I don't know, somewhere midweek. Like if we could just break it up and go no more than 2 or 3 days without football, I think
So
it'd be great.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
You would want
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay.
Just give me a midweek, something to break up the monotony, because you go through all through Sunday, but I guess that really wouldn't work with doing the matchups and stuff like that and doing waivers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting there though. I could see cutting out the London games for a lot of people. It's too early, especially if you're on the West Coast, 6 o'clock in the morning. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, I could see a lot of people answering it that way. I mean, to be fair, if I could do it, it would be keep, trade, or keep, trade, keep, and keep the Monday and just trade the Thursday to Friday.
Yeah.
Make it a little
I
bit
heard
better.
it's nice this time of year, and of course we talked about it before, but it's the greatest time of year for sports. And I heard on one of the ESPN podcasts, they said that October, I think it was last week or something, was the start of a 55-day stretch where there was some sort of football on TV.
Yeah.
I love that. Every
It's
single
pretty
day.
insane. Yeah, there were college games on today. And I mean, crazy, bro. It's literally a Monday or Tuesday night we're recording this, and there were college games on, and it's a little weird to think that college games are being played on Tuesdays, Wednesdays. I understand the Thursday, Friday, Saturday rotation, but I don't
gotta
get
be honest.
I don't get the Tuesdays.
I gotta be honest. If it's not NFL on the TV, it's It's hockey time, baby. I'll catch my college ball on Saturdays like everybody else. But
Yeah.
hey, if you guys have a different opinion on this keep trade cut, let us know down in the comments below. What do you like, Thursday night London games or Monday night? Curious to see how everybody feels about that. But let's do it. Let's jump right into it, everybody. We'll recap week 5 of the GSC season. Bunch of big games this week. A lot of points, a lot of points. Man, how'd you feel about that Thursday night game, man? The Bears. I hope you had Justin Fields or DJ Moore on some of your teams.
I had DJ Moore in a couple of my leagues, so I was feeling perfect going
I was
into
really
Sunday.
I was really scared going into Thursday night with one of my leagues because running back is just so thin in that league, as it is everywhere. But putting together a solid lineup, I ended up with Justin Fields, Khalil Herbert, and DJ Moore on the same team. And I'm like, man, like if you know the way that I play, I hate stacking players, especially like position players, quarterback and a receiver, not too big of a deal. But 3 players on the same team, Thursday night football, not looking good. And then points galore, my guy. It was awesome. I had 90 points before Sunday morning.
Yeah. I mean I had 50 plus with DJ Moore in a couple of my leagues. But speaking of which, with the triple stack, I'm trying to target that right now, low key. So
Like
um
you're trying to make that happen for your team?
yeah, I'm
Spicy.
I'm trying to triple stack.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
made
There's been
an
a lot of controversy about that lately.
yeah, I know. And it's not like I'm double stacking receivers or anything like that, so I'm okay with it, but
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you'll have to
It
keep us
would
posted, man. I'm curious to hear how that turns out.
We'll see. We'll see. It's up to bench don't kill my vibe. The offer was made,
Okay. Okay.
so we'll see what progresses from there. She needs a running back. That's all I'll say. And I
Don't we all?
made a fair offer. I feel like it's a very fair offer, 2 for 1, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this week, holy smokes, couple close matchups and a couple blowouts.
Absolute blowouts, man. I was like, holy crap. And that's, man, this has happened before, and obviously it's probably going to happen again. But I'm looking at some of these before Monday night, dude. I thought you were going to have Hot Chub Time Machine by over 100 points. Let's jump into your matchup. Check that out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I beat him by 91, just about 91, just
Oh my
90 and
God,
some
dude.
change. I mean,
Poor Joe.
Jalen
Be easy
Hurts,
on him. Be nice.
Kamara, Swift. How about Jamar Chase throwing up a 50 piece, baby?
Did you watch that game?
I did watch bits and pieces. Obviously, for those that don't know, I work on Sundays, so I try and watch Red Zone.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting bits and pieces of it. They were a little bit more focused on some of the closer games towards the end of that game when I think Jamar caught his 3rd touchdown. But they, finally bring it in. So got to see that. And what's even more scary about this is I threw up 193 and I have St. Brown on my bench out for the week.
Mm-hmm. And you got a dud from the Dallas defense?
And I got a dud out of them. Now, I'm not going to complain. You know, my
That
team
is
went
scary,
off
though.
this week. I mean, Kittle had a hell of a game with 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
ETN going nuts, especially against. I think Buffalo has a decent defense. It's pretty solid, and he throws up a 30 plus. I'm not going to complain at all with the performance of my team this week. I had a couple players on bye, so had to kind of, roll with the punches this week. And, as we're rolling into bye weeks now. So can't be disappointed with my team's performance in my first bye.
Yeah, definitely not, man. That was a huge game for you guys. On the flip side, looking at Hot Chub Time Machine, was able to actually pick up Joe Burrow as he was dropped by Cortland Sutton earlier in the week. I believe Sutton picked up CJ Stroud in place. I don't know how to feel about it, man. Joe Burrow, he looked fine. The Bengals, obviously we just touched on Jamar Chase. For those of you that are worried about some of your players, man, I think maybe the secret is for them to publicly come out and be a squeaky wheel. It happened with AJ Brown a couple of weeks ago. And then Jamar Chase comes out and says, "Hey, I'm always fucking open."
I'm always
He
open.
gets the ball. So
Yeah.
rough one for James Conner. Going to be missing him for a few weeks. And he's got Justin Jefferson on there too. Two big names going down this week. That is tough for Hot Chub Time Machine. Ouch. I don't like to see that.
Yeah. That's gonna hurt. That one stings. And I foresee him probably sending out some offers to see what he can get. To just squeeze by for these next few weeks with them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see on the waiver tonight who wants to pay up for an Arizona running back, because there's really not a lot else out there. So for him to get him, I imagine he's probably going to have to spend some cash. How much he thinks it's worth it, I don't know. But down game for Adams. Adams didn't look 100% to me, so I think he's going to be okay.
He's got 56 in Fab, so we'll see how that plays out for him.
For sure.
He's got a decent amount in comparison to some of these other teams, so I think he can manage.
Well, and to Hot Chub Time Machine's defense too, we talked about this with Amelia's Army last week. When you're playing a team, for example, you putting up 193 this week, it's tough, man. I mean, you could have the best game of your season, and it's you're still likely going to fall short of a score like that. So
yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, what are you supposed to do when you have Jamar Chase, Kittle, and ETN throw up over 100 points between those three?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, there's no chance to get any kind of win. Let's jump into your matchup of the week. Cody, explain to the folks what happened, man. The heartbreak.
Gutted, man. I told you last week, when Steven and I play each other, when Ryan and I play each other, these things just seem to happen. I don't want to say that I expected it, but I was, I guess, slightly prepared for it. He was due for a decent game. He's had some pretty shit luck in the last few weeks. So I kind of felt it coming on. I felt like I got pretty let down in the Sunday night game. I needed a lot more out of Pollard. Was really pleased with my team overall, though. Finally got some points out of Dallas Goedert. Tyreek Hill is always going to be, producing for me. I rolled the dice with Garrett Wilson playing him against Denver. And as you can see on the flip side with Steven, he had the Jets defense. And to me, I was watching our matchup all weekend long. Once the Jets got that fumble recovery for a touchdown, really took a turn, because I had him pretty decent up until that big point swing in that Denver Jets game. And I think coming into Monday Night Football, he had Josh Jacobs and Romeo Doubs left. And I think it was like a 30-point gap or something like that. And I'm like, man, realistically, he should be able to get this. So coming into Monday night, I'm like, all right, like, I'll be really lucky if he doesn't just come up and put 30 plus on me. Right. And we started watching the game, and I'm like, all right, this isn't looking so bad. We get to halftime, and I'm like, shit, like, Dobbs,
you're looking good. Dobbs didn't have
Jacobs
anything.
had like 6 or 8 points, and I'm like, this is doable, and it just wasn't there for me this week, man. Good on Steven. He put together a solid lineup, had his best game of the year, and got me by less than a point, man. So yeah, I'm gutted by it, but it's not the end of the world, you know.
I mean, I I was there, and I mean, I was you and I were texting back and forth as it was going on, and I mean, I told you it can't be a much, you know, you can't have a heartbreak like this and it be much worse than when you're in the playoffs trying to get into the championship like I was last year, and this is how it was for me. Less than a
Yeah.
point. Oh, rough. But I
Yeah.
mean, how do you bounce back from a loss like this?
Like I said, I'm not displeased with my team at all. I thought it, did exactly what I needed it to do. I put up a solid week, 140 points. That was well above the league average for the week. I was playing, a replacement quarterback in Stafford, so I get Herbert back this week. Made some moves on the wire. Picked up a Rashee Rice. Had a decent game, 4 for 5, 33 and a touchdown. So I do feel like I still have some depth, and I'm comfortable with my lineup. I did switch up a couple of things after Monday Night Football. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I'm not tripping, man. I'm still comfortable with my team, and now that we're moving out of divisional matchups, I'm ready to take it to the East Division and see what they got for me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, Cortland Sutton, I mean, put together a week. Steven, putting in CJ Stroud, Bijan, Jacobs put up solid week for him. Ridley, I mean, I touched on that last week in the
Mhm.
podcast about how was this Jacksonville Buffalo game going to come out, because Jacksonville was able to just stay in London the whole week, and I think they got the advantage out of that, and
Yeah.
it portrayed right into them getting a win, and they looked a lot fresher from the jump. I mean, the first half, it was a little crazy, and I know we were texting back and forth in the group chat, and it was kind of funny because towards the end of the game, Buffalo drives down the field 75 yards in what, 4 plays, and we're like, oh, so
Good.
you can do it, but
Yeah.
where has this been all game? So
Yeah.
a little bit ridiculous from that aspect for us. Pickens
Yeah.
had a hell of a game against Baltimore. Uh, and that stung me in a survivor league. I ended up having Baltimore, and they were up the whole damn game, and then had to
Yeah.
choke. Addison, we'll dive a little bit more into that a little bit later.
Yeah. He showed up. He
He played out, and like you said, that Jets D, and then it'll be interesting to see what happens, see where Gibbs comes, see if he's going to return this week or what. Jump into our next matchup. One Great Taste and Steeler Virginity. Um, 50-point spread here. Quite
Yeah.
quite a little bit crazy. We both had Steeler Virginity last week, and I think he just had a rough week. But I think he'll bounce back no problem. And I'm excited to see the East versus West matchups, these next few weeks. And
Mhm.
um I think the West takes it to the East this week and going into the next few. Um Steeler Virginity, obviously Mostert gonna be getting some solid playing time now, especially with Aching going down with injury, but it looks like he's having a little bit of issues himself. But um, Laporta, I mean,
The
what
dude's for
a
real.
stud,
Yeah.
to
He's
say the
nasty.
least. And I'm pretty sure that I know who his keeper is going into next season, but we'll touch a little bit more on that. We called it. We said Brees Hall against Denver.
Yeah.
We called that. So you and I, we made that call from the jump for one great taste.
Another example of the
uh,
squeaky wheel, right? Everybody wanted Breece Hall to be unleashed, so to speak. And he got his chance. Now, granted, it was against Denver, but I think this is a sign of good things to come because obviously the Wilson to Wilson connection there in New York is not as reliable as people would hope it to be. So I think a lot of that production is going to fall back onto Breece Hall. So I think Ryan made a good choice there in hanging on to him and playing him when he did.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just jumping through one great taste, Chain there. I like how Steeler virginity at least somewhat offset that with Mostert. I think that was a great call because they're fairly even in terms right now. So I think that was not a bad play, and especially against the Giants, you knew it was going to be 50-50 because that game was going to be pretty widespread.
Yeah. Kind of a bummer though. Talking about A-Chain, Ryan spent so much to get him and now he's not going to have him for, at least the next couple of games. I don't know if they've officially designated A-Chain to go to IR, but that kind of sounds, at least from what I've heard, that's kind of trending in that direction. But
Expected to miss multiple weeks.
so that's going to be a good thing for Steeler virginity. Hopefully that production stays with Raheem Mostert. Obviously Jeff Wilson's going to get some of those touches there, but as long as he's not super beat up, he should get a lot of that work. I think really what hurt Steeler virginity in this matchup was Lamar Jackson with a really rough day. I don't know. I watched most of that game and Baltimore just didn't look great.
They didn't.
Couple of costly turnovers for them, and then
yeah,
you talk about a team not looking great. You scroll down, you see CeeDee Lamb there. That game, I don't put this on Lamb. I don't put this really on any individuals on the Cowboys. Talked about Pollard on my team. The 49ers stuck it to Dallas, and that's that you're a victim of a matchup in that one. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be fine. But he got hurt by that low score there as well.
I'm telling you now, the 49ers are winning the Super Bowl. And I'm also telling you this. Dallas needs to give the ball to Trey Lance. Get rid of Dak Prescott. He is the most absolute unclutched quarterback in the NFL. He is garbage. My hot take, but Dak Prescott is garbage.
Yeah, he definitely didn't look good. I don't know about giving the ball to Trey Lance, but I mean, he's not going to do any worse than Prescott did that night, right? Maybe Dallas should trade for Mac Jones, I guess.
New England, bench Mac Jones. Just a word of advice.
Yeah,
All right, let's jump into our next matchup. I believe this was our matchup of the week last week. Bench Don't Kill My Vibe and Drexen Sclounce.
She got smacked.
Yeah, she got smacked, but I will be honest. I understand her just kind of throwing the white flag at the end of the week. And I mean, she had Aaron Jones in her lineup this week. I'm not going to harp on her. She got fucked over.
Everybody thought he was going to play.
Yeah.
Even as of like Monday morning, people thought he was going to play.
Yeah.
So that one's not on you, Whit.
Take that one and, move forward. It's okay. Even at 2-3, you're in the race. So don't be throwing in the flag yet. Don't wave your white flag and surrender quite yet, because like we said, teams got in last year at 8-6. All you need is a couple wins to string together, and you're right there in the race. So don't even worry.
Here's the thing, though. I'm looking at this lineup. Jordan Love, 8 points. Obviously, the dud from Aaron Jones. Nico, rough, man. What happened to Nico Collins? I think he'll be okay, but Ferguson, less than 6 points. Devontae Smith, ghost on the field. Wilson, less than 3 points. And then you scroll down, you look at the bench, not a lot of depth. Your Roshan Johnson is hurt. The backfield in Chicago is a mess right now. Cam Akers, I want nothing to do with it. Tajay Spears, not bad because he's getting more carries than Derrick Henry in Tennessee, but Carrion Freiermuth, put him on your IR, pick somebody else up. Go, like, I'm telling you, Whit, I offered it to you today, and I'm going to tell you here on the podcast. I've got Matthew Stafford, and I don't need him anymore. Let's make something happen because Jordan Love's not getting it done for you.
Whit, I made you an offer. You needed a running back. There you go. I figured that was a good time to put it in there. But then again, you look at the other side and you look at Drax, Justin Fields, Gabe Davis.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Before we go too much further,
the Saints defense, man.
He texted the group chat before that Thursday night game. He said, "Shit, I meant to take Fields out. I wanted to try Anthony Richardson out this week." Boy, you are so lucky you didn't do that.
Yeah, because you would have had half the points.
What a different game that would have been.
Yeah, that would have 3 points versus 32.
Yeah.
Got lucky there, we could say. But even then, I don't know. Obviously, it wouldn't have made much of a difference. Because Aaron Jones being out just didn't help. But I'm not worried about bench don't kill my vibe. I think she's gonna make a turnaround and be just fine. Let's jump into our last matchup. And this was the next closest matchup of the week. This was the only other decently close. And I mean, 10 points and Amelia's Army and Revenge of the Aints battle for last in the East, and Revenge of the Aints. We said he was going to get the win, and he did just that.
Yep, Amelia's Army did his best to come back and definitely make a game out of this, but I thought it was a really good matchup. I enjoyed watching this one progress throughout the weekend. Big points from DJ Moore was really a good way to start the week for Revenge of the Aints. Josh Allen came back, delivered after a pretty abysmal first half, really picked it up in the second half. We touched on that. So pretty solid week for Revenge of the Aints. And honestly, really not that bad for Amelia's Army either. Big production right there in the middle of the lineup. Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Cole Kmet, Adam Thielen, Jacoby Myers. That's huge right there, man. Just a couple of shortcomings with the running backs and a dud from the defense. What can you do?
Yeah, and Puka on his bench. So I mean, he played all the right players that he can. I mean, he has all his receivers in his lineup, outscored Puka. He made the right call there. So he had a perfect week in terms of his lineup.
He did put together a perfect lineup, so not too bad.
I did the same, and it pays off. To have those perfect weeks, you're putting together your best lineup. Just fell short. Unfortunately, disappointing week for Najee and Kyron Williams.
Disappointing season for Najee, bro. Hot garbage, the hottest garbage. It makes hot garbage look like not hot garbage. He's so bad.
I have Najee in another league, and
so do
I put him on the bench, and I'm trying to either trade him in a 2-player trade, or I'm trying to just target someone on the waiver wire, and hope and pray I can get whoever I target, because haven't had that luck in some of my other leagues. I get outbid every time, aka Mr. 63 or whatever on Jerome Ford.
Oh. I got my money back.
You did, but it's just a little ridiculous to me.
I'd like to
But
point out too that the guy that paid me for Jerome Ford is like he's got one win on the season so far, so I'm okay with it.
fair enough. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a steady week. Good matchups, and I mean, we kind of knew where things were at. So to dive in on our predictions last week, you and I, we went 3-5. We had the exact same picks. We got myself, uh, Draxum Sclounce, and Revenge of the Aints right. So 3 out of 5 on the week. Not too crazy bad. I mean, better than the week prior where we got, I think, 1 or 2. I think it was
Yeah.
1. So better, but you want to dive
Well,
into
I'm
let's
just gonna throw it out there before we move along. Cortland Slutton, man, I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna see you again. We may have to put a little wager on that rematch for you and me.
I love it. I love it. So, jumping into a little bit more, let's
Yeah, a
let's
lot of
hit
stuff happened this week, man.
let's hit, let's touch on this. Is there a way? Let's see.
No, not without going through the sidebar yet.
Okay. I wasn't sure. So, I'm zooming in a little too much. All right. So
We got trades on the board, people.
we have
We got
quite
some
a
action this week.
bit. First trade went yesterday, 2 days ago. 2 days
Sunday.
ago.
Yeah, so it was on Sunday. We'll just break it down. Cortland Slutton traded away Jahmyr Gibbs and Jordan Addison to One Great Taste for T. Higgins. And this is, we wanted to talk about this because myself and our co-commissioner, Draxton Clowns, didn't handle this in the best way. Everybody's been talking about trades and trying to get these things done. And as soon as it popped up, I texted Steph and I said, hey, let's go. Like, this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and get this process and move it through. Word to the wise for your guys' leagues, give it a waiting period, which we normally do. We processed it right away, and neither of these owners thought that was going to happen. So essentially what happened was, we're in the middle of the day, we're watching the morning games, and we push this trade through, and then all of a sudden Cortland Slutton doesn't have a full lineup because he traded away Addison, so it was this whole thing. We had to, reverse it, make it right, put the players back until the following day. But it's a good thing we did that. Addison showed up. That helped Slutton get the win. But yeah, one of the things we're going to have to do throughout the rest of the season and in the off season is really talk a lot and really get down to the nitty gritty of the entire trade process. One of the things we've done in the past is it goes to a league vote. Everybody votes on it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Doesn't have to be a huge thing, but give it a waiting period before you push these trades. I got so quick happening.
Yeah. So
What were your thoughts on that when you saw that come through? I know you were at work, but it got interesting really, really quickly.
yeah, I mean, word to the wise, let Sleeper process your trades. Just if it goes through as a commissioner, just let Sleeper process the trade. Don't process it. I know, for instance, like in our Reaper League, I process those right away because the Reaper you know, that's part of the game, and that was kind of made clear from the jump with everyone, was if you lost to the Reaper, you were sending someone that he picked off your roster, and that was going through right away. But if you're in a league, and it's competitive like this one is, just let sleeper, have its, what is it, 24, 48-hour process
Yeah, you can
period.
set the difference. You can do 1 day, 2 day. It's called a review period, but you can set
Let
it differently for your league. But yeah, you're right.
let it let it sit. I love the fact that with this next trade, uh Cortland Sutton decided to give you some shit right off the bat.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So
uh,
Steal of Virginity and I got one done. I'm getting real nervous about week 7. Both of my starting running backs, Tony Pollard, Joe Mixon, are both on bye in week 7. Had to make some moves for somebody to join Jerome Ford there for that fill in. Got to chatting with Steal of Virginity. Said, "Hey man, you got Saquon Barkley coming back. A-Chain went down. You got Mostert. Running backs are looking okay. Would you be interested in moving Isaiah Pacheco?" His response was very short and very clear. He said, "Yes, I would." We chatted for about an hour and a half, and we got it done. I sent away Christian Kirk and Mr. Garrett Wilson. I finally got him off my team. I didn't know I was going to be able to do that. Got Pacheco and Cortland Sutton in return. So I'm happy with it. How do you view that trade? I always like to be affirmed on my actions because I overthink them.
oh, well, I think this is a very even trade. You know, I do see the upside with Pacheco there, and I also see it from Steeler Virginity's end, where Christian Kirk and Garrett Wilson both have great potential. Sutton, I don't know about that Denver defense, but to put the same, I don't know about that Jets defense. So we'll kind of see how
Like
that
kind of throw
that
this week out for
rolls.
Sutton. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm happy with it. I thought it was a good one. This next one though, everybody from our league, we all know all about it. We're going to be very short and concise about talking about this, but we did want to address it because I felt like it needed to be addressed. Situation this morning, I was essentially waking up to a trade offer from Amelia's Army for Puka Nacua and Cortland Sutton straight up, and this was a situation that unfolded into something that I don't think any of us expected. But long and the short, this entire trade had a ton of layers to it. And in the end, it was canceled. I think for the greater good of the league. Both parties agreed to this trade. But after talking about everything with the league and the owners involved, myself, Amelia's Army, and other individuals, we felt it best to go ahead and shut it down. So I just wanted to kind of pick your brain on this, Brandon, see how you thought, see if you had any input or insight to, what you saw and maybe what could have gone differently. I don't know. This was, we had ourselves a regular old reality show drama episode today.
Didn't know we were watching the Bravo channel, because that unfolded today. Geez, welcome to Vanderpump Rules. But yeah, I mean, this trade, and I I know Amelia's Army made this offer, and in my eyes, I don't know why or what was going through his head, but he, for whatever reason, wanted to get Cortland Sutton. I'm saying Sutton because that's a team of ours,
Yeah.
Stevens, but he wanted Cortland Sutton, and he wanted to get rid of Puka because he didn't want to have Kyron Williams, Cooper Cup, and Puka. And, I understand not wanting those three, but
Yeah,
I
we've all been chirping in his ears about it for weeks now.
I I just know, this was such just a lopsided trade. And it was very rough. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it was very um odd, to say the least. If it would have been another player and Sutton for Puka, I could have maybe seen that a little differently. But one for one, I mean, you're talking wide receiver 3 on the year versus wide receiver 37. So, little odd. And, I mean, I told you this, you and we were texting back and forth all day. I think this comes across anyone's, offer. You you get an offer like that, you're thinking, "Did that really just happen?" But you're also
You just
thinking,
struck
"Oh,
gold, basically.
yeah, I mean, you're hitting accept, no question." And I know that was your mindset on it. You struck gold, like you said, and you wanted to just continue to go to the end zone. You found a way. And I mean, obviously, as things portrayed throughout the rest of the day, it kind of became a good old clusterfuck, to say the least. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so
I'm happy that we found a remedy. And at the end of the day, we did vote as a league. This was what he wanted, but as a league, I think you made the right call as commissioner.
yeah, I just want to go on record and say that I hope that I can speak for everybody in Get Sunday Covered in that we want people to be able to draft and manage their team however they choose to do so, right? We don't want to police every trade and every waiver move and things like that. And we jump on this podcast and we talk about and we criticize and scrutinize these moves that everybody's making in the league, but that's just kind of to make it fun and kind of bring some conversation to the situation. But I did want to share with everybody a quick reminder, our trade veto clause that is actually in our GSC rules, that it states commissioning parties reserve the right to reverse any trade that they deem inconsistent with league competition and fair play standards. This veto will only be invoked in extreme cases where it is clear that there is a distinct disadvantage to one of the included teams. The owner in question may offer an explanation as to why the trade is fair, but the decision made by the commissioning committee will be made final once it has been rendered. Again, just want to put it out there and say that this was not a personal decision, but after speaking with everybody, gathering information, like I said, this whole thing had layers, man, layer after layer after layer. And I think the general consensus was that, yes, had this trade gone through, that gives, maybe it's not a huge disadvantage to his team, but I would see that as being a pretty big advantage for my team. And I just didn't feel right about it. So I think that's pretty much all I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I think you made the right call as commissioner. And you remedied the situation. I mean, as quick as you could. It kind of, became a big shit show at the start. But as things kind of prevailed,
But
I
you know what,
think
that
it went the right way.
to me, I try to find the positives in these type of situations, and to me, this just shows that the members of our league and the managers of these teams, we care, right? We take it pretty seriously. So if this wasn't if a situation like this didn't cause some sort of turmoil, I would question how much people are really in it. So I do appreciate that everybody had a conversation about this today, and I think that's important to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Moving on.
I reached out to separate parties that weren't even part of the trade, and we were talking about it. And yeah, I mean, it was on everyone's mind today. And yeah, like you said, moving on. Let's let's take a look at some stand-ins, partner, because your boy,
You called it, Mega.
your boy passed you. What happened? I told you I was
Yep,
coming.
you
I
did.
was nipping at your heels, and I
You
said
did.
don't lose because I'm gonna pass you. And
Yep. And
you
you're
you
kind
lost a
of,
heartbreaker, and I ran away with it this week. So I took over overall
yeah, a
points
200-point
for
game will do that
leader.
for you.
Yeah, took me to the tippy top in that aspect, but Drax still has the number one seed sitting at 5-0,
5-0, man.
leading the
Pretty impressive.
West.
Yep.
Stud, stud.
Got me sitting there in
But
third place. Still happy with that.
to also piggyback off of Drax, can we just talk about this right here? The big thing that points out to me, points against. He has the lowest points against
By
in
far.
the whole league by 50 points. 45.
Yeah.
Sorry, quick math in my head, but I'm just kind of rounding up to even number. But 45 points is the next person closest to him. Then you're looking at someone like me who's leading the West. I'm a full 96 points above that. So the level of competition there that he's had, I think he's had some. I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. I think he's had a couple lucky weeks, lucky breaks.
Sure. Yeah.
Not to say, he hasn't had phenomenal weeks, because there was a period in time where he did lead everyone in the league for multiple weeks on most points for. But in terms of matchups, he's benefited the most by having almost a 200-point spread between points for and points against.
Yeah. Yeah. And same could be said, you look at last place with Amelia's Army. Even this week put up a solid week, but then, you look at his points against at, north of 700. Nobody else is really coming close to that. So
Exactly.
same type of
Everyone's right
situation.
in that 600 range, 6 to 650. It really looks like everyone's kind of in that points against range. So it's the name of the game. But going from there, let's jump into week 6. We're
All
here.
right. It's good.
So got some solid matchups this week. I'm gonna let you call it out. Where do you want to start this week, Cody?
Let's jump right into yours. I see yours on top there. Might as well go top down, man. Taking on Amelia's Army this week. We just talked about it. How you feeling?
Um, um,
Confident as ever.
this is one of the matchups that I've been waiting for all year long, because I want to just beat this guy in the one matchup I play him this year and move on. That's what I want to do. I know he's the reigning champ. I want to get the win and just continue cruising into the sunset.
Love it. We'll break it down real fast. He's already taken care of the one person that he had on bye, Najee Harris. That's what it takes to get him out of his lineup. I'm glad to see it. We just touched on the Puka Nacua situation. Looks like he's going to keep him on the bench for now. We'll see if there's a move that's made there. But Tua at Carolina, Ken Walker back in the lineup, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp stack right there. It's been working out so far. They're both playing Arizona. I don't hate that stack. I'd play all three of them against Arizona, Diggs, Komet, Thielen. I like it. Flip the script, other side. Man, your team's catching fire there. Uh,
Hurts,
are you gonna
Kamara.
have St. Brown back?
Am I gonna have Evans back? That's the question. And if not, I know White will be in my lineup. But we'll see what else. I'm trying to target someone on the waiver wire. Um, with this going out tomorrow, I know you're probably not targeting him. I'm targeting Curtis Samuel. We'll see in the morning if I get him. If
Cool.
I can
I
manage
think
to get
I think
him.
it's gonna be a solid matchup, man. We talked about Amelia's Army, kind of getting putting up good weeks, but just falling short because he's playing a tough team. I think he's running into the same situation here this week. Obviously, your team went off last week. I'm hoping this game is at least relatively close, but I don't know that it's going to take until Monday night to decide it.
Well, I mean, this wouldn't. What's Monday? None of our. Oh, I guess Dallas. Dallas would be the last call for me. Um, and to be fair, if I'm up, I may just bench Dallas if it's a close matchup. Not even risk it.
Sure. Yeah, that is. I've
Um,
done that before, and I love that play. Just sit them down. Don't risk losing any points.
yeah, because who knows what can happen. And I mean,
Can the
yeah,
defense get negative points? Can that happen?
yeah, yeah. If they get like 35 plus scored on them, it's
They
negative
start.
4 points.
Damn. Yeah. So could be
So I mean,
interesting.
if I'm in that close of a matchup, I probably bench them. But if I'm losing, I'm obviously playing them. And hoping that they throw up a 40 piece like they did before.
Cool. Who you got?
Um,
Obviously, you're taking yourself. I'm going to do the
uh,
same. I think coming off the week that you just had, uh, I don't think you're going to repeat 193 points, but I do think you'll put up enough to get the dub in week 6.
I am in the same boat, and I'm hoping for the same. Let's jump into your matchup, touchdown there, and Drex some Clowns.
Ooh, buddy. I don't want to call this a
So
must win for me, but I think there's a lot at stake here.
I would agree. I think this can, well, for one, if I win, that gives me a full game advantage on top of you in terms of standings, but also gets me closer to that 1 seed if you do win, or both of us in this case, gets us both close to
I,
that one seed overall. So
I was really hoping to come into this matchup at 4-1, just to kind of have that cushion because this matchup does scare me for sure.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Fields has another week like he just had, or if McCaffrey off, this can be a tough one for you. But I do think Tyreek is going to have a hell of a week against Carolina, and I think Ayuk can have a good old field day out there in Cleveland. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, diving in, Herbert, Pollard, Mixon, Hill, Ayuk, Goddard, Zay Flowers, Pacheco, and that Miami D. You gonna move? Maybe you're moving Ford up or Rice up?
I don't think
Doubt it.
so. Not at this point. I'm going to see how the waiver wire pans out tonight. I don't want to just drop Stafford, but he is taking up a bench spot for me. I'm really liking the Justin Herbert, Tony Pollard pair on primetime Monday ball. I'm hoping that's a high scoring game. And I think after the embarrassing show in San Francisco, Dallas is going to have to get something together. I need more than 7 points out of Tony Pollard. So I'm hoping Monday Night Football is a big scoring game. Comfortable with just about everything else. I look at the other side. He's got Keenan Allen and DK Metcalf back in the lineup. that's
Yes.
trouble for me. Justin Herbert throwing the ball. There's Drax taking my points. You know what I mean? That's but I'm not going to pivot away. You know.
Yeah,
So
so jumping into him, he has Fields, McCaffrey, Cook, Olave, Davis, Andrews, Allen, Metcalf, and then the Saints D.
Yeah.
Don't really think he's putting anyone from his bench up. Reed and Warren are on buys, and then obviously Richardson, who knows how long he's going to be out. So I mean, overall, to be fair, prediction I think right now is, this is 50-50 in my eyes. And I think that this is definitely a toss up, but I think you knock him off the hilltop this week.
yeah, say it again.
I'm
Say it
taking
again.
you.
Let's
I'm
go.
taking
Let's
I'm in
go,
your
baby.
corner this week.
Yes.
And I play him next week, so
So if you and
I'm
I can
hoping
put it back to
I'm
back
hoping we
losses
can
for this guy, let's go. Let's make it happen.
that's what I'm hoping for.
The time has come, buddy. Five in a
time
row is
to
enough.
time to put you to sleep.
Yeah, and don't forget, you're not playing the East anymore, man. You step over here into our corner.
I think we got the tougher division this year. I think last year I would give it to the East. They had a better division, but I think this year the West is running it, and I'm excited to see how these next few weeks play out because
Third.
first round division games are over, and it's all playing the other division now. So it's all those head to heads the next couple of weeks. So exciting!
Yeah.
I'm pretty amped. Jump into the next one. Bench Don't Kill My Vibe versus Cortland Sutton. Matchup predictor is going to be way off because Bench Don't Kill My Vibe has to update their roster for the week. But we'll start over on her side. Obviously, Love and Jones are going to be going to her bench. Probably going to be moving up. Is Johnson going to be back? I don't know. I could see her moving Spears up. You're going to make a trade for Stafford? We'll see. I know you threw the offer out, but Montgomery, Brown,
AJ Brown for Matt Stafford straight up.
No,
No.
that ain't gonna happen.
You've had enough of that drama for 1 week.
Oh God, bro. Yeah. I'm over these lopsided trades already. I don't want people getting fleeced out here. I think Nico Collins will bounce back. Ferguson didn't do much this week, but I think this will make it exciting come Monday night. Devontae, I think he'll be able to bounce back this week against the Jets. Wilson, we'll see how that plays out. And then Philly D. Bouncing over
I would real quick for Whitney, I would look for Devonta Smith to have a really big game here. AJ Brown's been showing out. I would imagine against the Jets, he's going to draw Sauce Gardner the whole game. Dial up some Devonta Smith in this one, man. If you're a Devonta Smith owner, everybody's been wondering, like, they talked about it in Philly. We got to get Dallas Goedert involved. He gets, a ton of yards and a touchdown in this last game. They're saying the same thing about Devonta Smith now. I think he's the highest scoring out of that duo this week.
Yeah, I would agree. Jumping over to Cortland Sutton, Lawrence, Bijan, Jacobs, Ridley. Is T. Higgins going to be back? I don't think so.
No, man.
He's going to be out for a little bit, right?
I think so. Which is really
Palmer.
Gonna suck. Trading away Addison for JJ to go down and then trading for Higgins, and now he might miss another week. That's tough.
Yeah. That's gonna be rough, but we'll see what happens. I'm curious what he is going to do because he is going to have to jump on the waiver wire. Someone from his roster is getting dropped. If T. Higgins is out, he does not have a wide receiver that he can play this week. So trade talk, whatever it may be, he's making a move this week. That's for sure. still has Pickens in his flex, so it makes it a little bit more even, but this is a definitely a 50-50 toss up for me. Who you taking in this?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of a toss up at this point. Really excited to see what these two owners do on the waiver wire because it's just so hard to tell what these lineups are going to look come Thursday night. Just for the sake of putting a pick out there, I'm going to take bench don't kill my vibe as a hopeful pick, just to put Cortland Sutton back down one more game in our division. So I'm hoping she takes the win in this one.
Yeah, I think Cortland Sutton's gonna pull out the dub this week. So I'm gonna take the polar opposite side of you in this matchup. I think,
Cool.
He stirred together a pretty solid week. I think bench don't kill my vibe, but this is gonna be like a pretty close matchup. I see this matchup being less than 10 points. So this will be a good one to watch. Jump into our next matchup, Steeler Virginity, Revenge of the Aints. Gonna be interesting, but why don't you kind of roll through players on this one, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, I'm going to start on the left side here with Steeler Virginity. I'm hoping. I don't know that I'm going to project it, but I'm hoping for a bounce back for Lamar Jackson on this team. Last week is just I think was an outlier, bad game, turnovers, things like that. So I think he'll be fine there. Mostert, as long as he's out there, you're definitely playing him with A-Chain going down. I think that's going to be a good one. You mentioned the matchup there in Carolina. I think it's going to be very similar to how it was against the Giants. I look for Mostert to have a big game. Are we going to get Barkley back? I think so. Is he going to be 100%? I don't know. He's also playing Buffalo. I don't love that matchup. I could see him splitting carries pretty heavily with Breida. That makes me nervous for him. Lamb, again, I like this primetime matchup on Monday night. Samuel should be fine. Laporta, I'm playing him every week if I got him. I love this.
Stud.
Yeah, and then solid flex plays here with McLaurin and Kirk. I wish you well, Christian Kirk. He did well for me, so hopefully it pays off for Jordan as well. Looking at Revenge of the Aints, Josh Allen, obviously can always expect a big game out of him. I think he's going to be fine. Kind of the same concern here with the running backs. Dameon Pierce is really, he needs to show a little bit more. I think Henry, if he scores, he's going to be fine. But this one is what stands out to me here. DJ Moore, I think the last 2 weeks, Justin Fields and DJ Moore have shown that they are fantasy relevant. And who else is he going to throw the ball there to in Chicago besides Cole Kmet? I think this is going to be fine for him as long as they're out there and they're both healthy. So I look to see DJ Moore probably put up, another 100-yard, one touchdown game at least this week. So I think this one overall, yeah, he's got Jonathan Taylor in there again. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I would imagine for being able to pick Taylor up off of the waiver wire and getting him back now that he has him back, you just have to play him until he starts doing well, right? I don't know if you're going to stick him there on the bench in place of who else. If you got him, you got to play him. I don't know how that's going to work out. Hopefully this is the week he comes back to form, but we'll see. So I don't know. Did you have any thoughts or anything on these players, on these
No,
matchups?
yeah, I mean, overall, like, I think this is a great matchup this week. This, in my eyes, is probably my matchup of the week. I like this matchup, and I think this is going to be a very good one, head to head. I'm curious to see as to what Taylor does. I think he's going to be kind of that variable within this, to see if he's, is he going to get what Zach Moss put up last week? Is he going to throw up 25 plus, or is he going to have kind of another mediocre day of 5 to 10? So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. That's kind of the variable I have in my eyes. But overall, I think in this matchup, I do like Steeler virginity to get the dub.
Cool. I love your call on this being the game of the week. I tend to agree with that. I do think it's going to be a solid matchup. When I look at these matchups, I try to really hone in on the players that concern me. So looking at Jordan's team, like I said, Barkley, I'm nervous about that. Him coming back, how that workload is going to be. Hopefully Samuel's 100%, but then you need to bank on that rebound for Lamar Jackson. Whereas I look at the other side, I'm concerned about Taylor and Marquise Brown. So for me, I think the risk kind of plays into Revenge of the Aints favor, and I'm going to take them for the dub in this one.
Nice. I like that we got some separate picks out this week. Dive into our last matchup: Hot Chub Time Machine, One Great Taste. Hot Chub Time Machine with Burrow, Hubbard, Madison, Waddle, Adams, Ertz, Boyd, Lockett in the Baltimore defense. Man, such a shame to see JJ go down. Looking at the other side, One Great Taste, Mahomes, Brees Hall. I don't know about that this week against Philly. That's a tough matchup. Robinson, Pittman, Hopkins, Kelsey, Godwin, Addison, and then that San Francisco defense is nuts. Both of them losing a player this week between Achane and Jefferson. So we'll see what happens with this. But overall, I mean, I definitely like this matchup. I think, obviously the prediction is a little off in my eyes. But I do like One Great Taste in this matchup, and like I said earlier, I think the West is going to kind of steamroll over the East this year. So we'll see how that plays out.
One Great Taste is your pick in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I see a Mahomes and Kelsey stack against Denver. Love that. And unfortunately, looking at Hot Chub Time Machine, this happens, to real life teams, but it happens to fantasy teams too, where they kind of hit a down streak or a slump or whatever it is you want to call it. And unfortunately, I think that's what's going on for Joe here, especially with losing Justin Jefferson. I think they've run into a bit of bad luck, and I can't vote for them until I see them coming out of that. So I'm going to take One Great Taste as well.
All righty, sir. All right. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think we are rolling into kind of, that the season. I mean, we are halfway to the trade deadline. Why don't you kind of dive into this little next section that we have kind of on the
Yeah.
docket this week?
Yep, absolutely. Quick reminder for everybody, trade deadline is week 10 for us. So we wanted to kind of break down everybody's teams and take a look at what kind of keeper potential we have at this point in the season. Just kind of remind everybody to think about those things when you're making trades and making moves and stuff like that. Are you trading for somebody? You're picking somebody up off the waiver wire that you may be able to keep. So we'll run through this pretty quickly, but we wanted to see who everybody has at this point in time. I'll start with myself. Jerome Ford, obviously got him off the waiver wire a couple weeks ago, paid up for him. Unless something crazy happens, I'm going to be hanging on to him for the foreseeable future. But I also picked up Rashee Rice last week, so I like that one too. Those are who I got for keeper right now. Brandon, what you got?
I have Jameson Williams. I really don't think after this season I'm gonna have a keeper. I'm gonna just kind of roll into next season and go the full 15 rounds. I'm not really. I've made some moves at least on the waiver wire and picked up people, but also dropped people, and I'm happy with my team, and I don't really foresee myself really targeting anyone unless something crazy happens with Williams. Uh, I'm good with where I'm at right now.
Cool. Yeah, and that's Cortland Sutton did that this year. He didn't have a keeper. He didn't like anybody that was on there. Rather keep that draft spot. I totally get that. So Drax them Sklounce, looking at the options of Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby, Anthony Richardson, Kendre Miller. Some solid options there. I really like Tank Bigsby and Anthony Richardson. I know Richardson's hurt right now. If they take care of him, they let him heal up. They have a solid year. That's a decent keeper in my mind for him. So
I like Jalen Warren. I think he's taken over that backfield from Najee.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Najee Harris in a different team's uniform very soon.
Let's see. Looking at One Great Taste, looks like he got Chain or Charbonnet.
Couple
Pretty
of running
solid
backs there.
there. Definitely seeing
Um,
Chain be there. So if I'm in his shoes, I'm probably just rolling with Chain and moving on next year.
for sure. Moving on to Revenge of the Aints. Looking at some of these teams, not a ton of options. Obviously, there's some names there, but just knowing my league mates and their tendencies and things, I felt like the biggest and most plausible option here would be Tutu Atwell. Yeah, that's really all I saw that was worth it at this point. We'll see if anything changes.
And then rolling into Steeler Virginity, Jaleel McLaughlin, and then Sam Laporta. Think that one's pretty clear cut who that stud is of that keeper.
That may be the steal of the waiver wire this year. At the end of the year, we like to look back and see, all the moves that took place over the year and who picked up the most valuable player. If it's not Devon Achane by the end of the year, it will be Sam Laporta.
But couldn't it be Puka as well?
Yes. We hadn't gotten there yet. I forgot about Puka Nacua. So yeah, I mean, that's three big names there. But when I look at Sam Laporta, though, I think positional advantage. So getting him off the waiver wire, Steeler Virginity keeps him in the 14th round. You're talking, if he plays the way that he's playing this year, top 5, if not top 3 tight end in the 14th round. That's value.
I 100% agree. I'm in the same boat there, and I think that Laporta is just a absolute baller.
Yeah, I love watching him play, man. He's so electric on the field. It's awesome pickup. I got a couple of shares of him, and I have him and Mark Andrews in one league, and I'm trying to move Mark Andrews, to be honest with you. Trade the name, trade the value, keep Laporta, 100%.
Agreed.
Move along here. Bench don't kill my vibe. A lot of options for this team. We look at Jake Ferguson again, another tight end there. Roshan Johnson, Tyjae Spears, and Josh Downs for this team. So this player is really hard to predict for me. I never know what she's going to do. Every year she waits until literally like pretty much draft day to decide on her keeper. So I don't know. All 4 of these names could be gone by the time the end of the year comes around. It's hard to say.
Yeah, rolling into our next, Cortland Sutton, got CJ Stroud and Romeo Doubs. I think, as the year progresses, those have some potential. I'm curious to see what Stroud does the rest of this season for sure. But I mean, he's been a stud so far this year. No interceptions, knock on wood for him, but yeah, I mean, kid's balling right now.
Definitely. I think, yeah, that's a tough one. I wouldn't be surprised if Stroud's not on this roster by the end of the year. I don't know. He's got Trevor Lawrence on the team right now. If he gets his shit together, I don't see him rostering CJ Stroud, but who knows? He may bounce back and forth, especially after getting rid of Burrow. I think he might be kicking himself for that one. But Romeo Dobbs, solid wide receiver. If he can keep that, in the, I think 12th round, he drafted him, something like that. That's not bad either. So I think both of those are solid options.
Agreed.
Last one here, Amelia's Army, solid options. The two Rams, obviously, we've talked a ton about that. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua for this team, and then Cole Kmet, solid tight end. I don't think I think we can probably scratch Cole Kmet out of that. If you've got either of these two Rams players here, you're definitely keeping one of those guys. So that's who we
Yeah,
got for keepers as of right now.
all right. Is it that time, my friend? Is it my
I
turn to
think it is
dive
that time.
into? Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it. All
Brandon
right.
Betts.
Yes, sir. We will start off with my big fat juicy Thursday night parlay. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Chiefs at Broncos or Broncos at Chiefs. Both my
Broncos
wife and
at
I were both
Chiefs.
can't wait to watch that.
Um,
Such riveting television that's gonna be.
I have two separate parlays in this. I think this is fairly. Uh, I think Kelsey puts up. If you can get him, I think Kelsey's going to put up 2 touchdowns. So if you can make that bet, 2 touchdowns for Kelsey, and then tie in like a Pacheco and make it a single game, a same game parlay on just those two and a touchdown score, I think that'll cash for you. But jumping into this, plus 2,800, $10 into 290. Patrick Mahomes over 250 passing yards, Pacheco over 50 rushing. I do like Trotman, tight end for the Broncos, getting over 20.5 receiving yards. Chiefs should have no problem putting up 30 and then winning by a touchdown. But I also do think the Broncos score at least 2 touchdowns here. And maybe a field goal or two, or even just throw up, 3 or 4 field goals and maybe a touchdown. But I can see the Broncos getting 19 points or so, 20 points. So having them on the over on that, I like that. Jumping into this week's lock. I think this week there's some matchups that are fairly easy to decide. In my eyes, I like Kansas City over the Broncos. I like the Ravens over the Titans. I like, obviously, I think the 49ers over the Browns. Miami over the Panthers. Jacksonville at home over Indianapolis. Philadelphia over the Jets, Buffalo over the Giants. That should be a blowout. And then Dallas over the Chargers. Plus 1,065. So essentially turn $10 into 116 there. And that's what I got this week for my bets. If you are interested in anything that I'm playing outside, don't go ahead and follow our socials. And then if you are actually interested in getting started in sports betting, go ahead and click that DraftKings link, referral link down in the comment or in the description. to get $100 in free bets when you deposit. I believe $100 as well. So, who doesn't love some free money to play with? So take advantage of that. I figured I'd plug that in this week. Might as well give myself
Might
a
as well.
chance there.
Might as
Something
well.
new.
Love it. Well, that's what we got for this week, guys. Thanks for sticking in with this long one. Week 5's in the books. Week 6 coming up. Don't forget our pick'ems are officially open, I think, by tomorrow morning. So we will touch on that in our group chat. Let us know what you thought in the comments, questions, anything like that. It's been a great one talking to you guys. So, Brandon, unless you got anything else, man, we'll see you guys in a week.
Drop a like, drop a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and then go follow us on all socials, Instagram and Facebook at Get Sunday Covered. Y'all,
Bet.
if you ever have any questions, don't forget to shoot an email to our Commissioner Corner, or just drop it in the comments. We'll address it in that segment. But always don't be scared to let us know any of your feedback. Any is appreciated. We appreciate all of you guys, and you know, follow for us to always get your Sundays covered. We will catch you on the next pod. I believe we may be having a player exclusive this weekend. More
Stuff coming
to
up. Cool stuff
more to
coming
touch
up.
on that, but there are some things down the line that we are making happen, and excited to bring those to you guys. But till next week, peace.